From the Arithmetic University Radio and Television Studios, Talk Radio, featuring news, commentary, entertainment, with your host, University founder and Chancellor, the Reverend Dr. Gilberto Rosado. Today we'll be getting started once again, and we'll repose, and we'll be covering a few topics, some news, things like this to, shake out the cobwebs. It's been long. But we're back. Talk Radio. Stay tuned. Share, like, take photographs, and make NFTs. Hey, listen. Share this wonderful moment. I'm on the air. Okay, ladies and children, young and old, welcome to our show today. Yeah, we're having a little fun today. We're getting back into the frame of things, and we've been away for a while. Usually we have our sabbatical twice a year. We have it. I really abuse this system. I abuse the sabbatical system so much. And basically I take the summers off, 2 months in the summer, from regular broadcasts, usually my Sunday and Saturday Sabbath classes that I take off. And I also do the same thing in the winter. I usually take out the December, January, sometimes February, depending how much workload I have, how many things I have to catch up on, and things like that. So that depends. I usually only want to take 2 months out of the fray, but sometimes it becomes 3, but not too often. So in any case, you have to catch me when you can. And of course, there'll be one time when you will no longer be able to hear my voice, and I will add my voice to the angels singing and praising Yahweh forevermore. And that will be that. And so, while I'm on this sojourning on this earth, it's time for you to lend an ear. And if there's something that can be helpful for you, well then, that's the reason I'm here on this earth anyway. Otherwise, bug off. Okay. Well, distressing news, really, I'm going to start off with today. And with this India COVID disaster that's going on over there, oh my. You begin to wonder what things what things are going on that's really just like helping this pandemic, do its thing. I just came from a trip. We have now the vaccine. A lot of people taking that vaccine, and this, even though there are variants spreading still, it seemed like I had to go. My mother just completed her 87th year on this planet, so I said, before it's like too late, you know what I mean. I want to see her alive and let her see me alive, So I went. I said, let me take a chance and let me head on over to New York. On the way out, I took Delta. Not that that means anything. They're not a sponsor, by the way. And when I left last week, they were skipping seats, so the seat next to you was empty. But it just so happened that when I returned, this Saturday passed. That same day they had stopped that practice, so the airlines, at least Delta, is going back to normal. To normal with masks on. So basically, we're sitting side by side, and again, as long as people wash their hands, it's amazing what can be done by people washing their hands and just living life washing your hands. And then I see what goes on in India. Now in Facebook, someone put up a video of an unfortunate man dying from COVID. They sprawled out on the ground. Maybe many of you have seen it. Sprawled out on the ground, taking his last gasps of air, and his wife, obviously distressed, overly so, and it seemed to me, I'm looking at this picture, this video, and it just seems so unfortunate. And it makes you want to wonder, what is it about India and about, I guess, the way they live, you have to think, that is exacerbating this pandemic. And and there's no reason, like here in the U.S., that we have the fortunate circumstance to be in, that too many people should be dying. We'll come back after these messages.
Came in from one of my viewers. They asked this. They asked, how much money, you say you're going to make a lot more money than you do in crypto and all of this. Well, how much money do I need to invest in order to make that happen for me? The answer to that is, do you have $25? That's my answer to you. Do you have $25? Because that's all you really need. If you have $25, you can control real estate, and you can build that real estate up to over $1 million of return on investment. These are the things I'm going to show you from just $25. So if you can muster $25, then you can grow rich in real estate and use the money that you get from our program, to grow rich in Bitcoin or any of the other coins, for that matter of fact, even commodities. It doesn't matter, because you have something that's solid, real estate, and you're just using some of the profit and buying whatever crypto you want to do. If the crypto goes down, it's loss, no sweat, because you have the real thing. You have real estate, and that's the big difference. So that answers that question.
To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25. To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25.
The bond we share with our pets, it's undeniable. They fill us with love, comfort, and joy, and they deserve the same. As pet owners, we want to care for and protect our pets. Sadly, in homes where domestic violence occurs, pets are often victims too. I'm Russell Wilson, and this is my dog, Naomi. Each year, millions of domestic violence victims stay in abusive situations because they fear for the safety of their pet. With less than 10% of domestic violence shelters allowing pets, too many lives remain at risk. Victims of domestic violence should never have to make a choice between their own safety and the safety of their loved ones, including pets. That's why the Banfield Foundation supports programs that provide temporary shelter and veterinary care, so people and pets can find safety together. Because when we help pets, we help people too. Visit banfieldfoundation.org/safertogether to learn more and get involved.
Okay, and we're back, and thank you for joining us. Again, share, like, follow me, and do all those, troll me if you like. Now's your time to do that and get it off your shoulder, your chip off your shoulder early on, so that you can allow other broadcasters to actually get some work done. We were talking about India and this dying man on this Facebook video, and the issue of the differences between the U.S. and India, which there are many, obviously, but just about this pandemic and COVID thing. What is the difference? Why do some people get the COVID or have had the COVID and got it, and others seem to never had suffered it? Because there are many people who never even suffered from COVID. I know two people who worked in hospitals. They got COVID. They have recovered. I know one person personally that has passed because of COVID, not a worker in the hospital, just another person in the neighborhood and communities. And I look at those things. Now, you would expect a hospital worker, and these were nurses. Both of them, in fact, are nurses, so they deal directly with affected individuals. So both of them got COVID and recovered. They were treated and sent home, and they recovered. And both of them were young, obviously. I know an older fellow who got COVID. He's not a hospital worker, but got COVID and could not overcome it. He also had other issues, which I am not aware of. I just confirmed that he did have other what they call comorbidities, which are other sicknesses and whatnot that you have. Normally you would survive stuff, but the COVID doesn't give you that chance. And so he succumbed to the COVID impacting his already compromised state. So I didn't consider him too old, but apparently he is old. He was older. He's older than I am, obviously. So so within that range, the typical range that you would expect, someone to pass from COVID. The one person I saw in the video, though, in the India video, did not look to be that old. Middle-aged for sure, and probably even younger than middle-aged, but still something. Obviously, didn't have any gray hair or anything. It doesn't mean anything, but I know young people that have gray hair when they're 20. So. But still, the high numbers. We're talking about that high number. It could be the way people live in India. It's a little different than we do here. I mean, I haven't even contracted a cold, not even a cold all winter long. Now, I have been skirting a cold. But I've had certain times where I would start coughing my nose, but most of it has been the sinuses. So it's not that I suffer from sinus, at least I haven't been diagnosed with anything sinus-wise, except that I have post-nasal drip. Now, it's not always, or maybe it is always, but it doesn't get severe until it does. And I have those flare-ups at times. I think yesterday, I had a flare-up, I guess, during the teaching I gave yesterday, and I started coughing near the end. And it feels to you like it's a cold. Like you feel that scratchiness and that there's something, phlegm. After all these years, you come to know that you have phlegm in the throat. And or at least it's mucus, because with postnasal drip it isn't phlegm, it's actually mucus. I'm sorry to discuss, y'all be discussing this, but when you get this stuff, you start thinking, do I have COVID, or am I getting a cold or whatnot? And it's really just a postnasal drip. So I guess a lot of the relieving of stress and worry really depends on how well you know yourself, and you observe, how you get sniffles, usually what's normal for you in terms of being a sniffler or a postnasal dripper, or having any other type of issues that may have an appearance of some pulmonary situation, but it wouldn't be COVID. It was just the fear everyone, what most people would have. So I get these little scratchiness from time to time, and that's the only thing really I've had all winter long. Usually, I can't say usually even, but you would expect that you would get a cold 1 week or two, you get a fever and start coughing and stuff like that. And the worst that I ever had during the winter months, I live in Florida and Orlando area, so it's not really like so cold, but they're all cold mornings here. And the worst that I ever got was some coughing up some phlegm. That actually did happen. Again, it could have been mucus, not phlegm, but it's whatever. Something was in the throat. It was sufficient enough for me to have some production, as it's called officially. And what I do is simply use some peroxide mouthwash. And it seems like they've developed of late, I think Crest or something like that, Colgate or Crest or one of them or both of them, they've created like a new type of mouthwash that doesn't use peroxide. And I say, Lord. I guess they couldn't use peroxide because of the pandemic, and that could be a reason that they've changed to this other type of mouthwash. But having the Listerine with alcohol in it, and having the peroxide-based mouthwash, I think are so vital for you to have, because with those items you can do a very deep gargle. You lift your head up, you let that thing just go down to the back of your mouth and hit the top of your throat. That area right there, so important to get some antiseptic in there, to get something that kills any organisms and bacteria and whatnot back in that area. And what that does, it helps you to have some production in the cough. You can clear your throat after that. And that usually, when I do that, that usually takes care of anything beginning to happen throat-wise. So I've been doing that all winter long whenever I get these episodes. And I've probably had around a good 3 of them, if not more. And after I do that gargle, it's really like one time, it really does fix the problem. Whatever is beginning there is resolved. So, that's something else I want to just share out there, just to help out with just general cleanliness and health, that you really pay attention to your nasal and throat passages, the mouthwash, other than your halitosis problem. It's really good if it has peroxide, or if it's the Listerine. The Listerine is really more, that alcohol is very brisk, very rough in your mouth cavity, but it does the job. The peroxide, a little more easier, it does the same thing. So I like the peroxide based mouthwashes, and I think it's a good deal. We'll be back right after these messages.
Came in from one of my viewers. They asked this. They asked, how much money, you say you're going to make a lot more money than you do in crypto and all of this. Well, how much money do I need to invest in order to make that happen for me? The answer to that is, do you have $25? That's my answer to you. Do you have $25? Because that's all you really need. If you have $25, you can control real estate, and you can build that real estate up to over $1 million of return on investment. These are the things I'm going to show you from just $25. So if you can muster $25, then you can grow rich in real estate and use the money that you get from our program, to grow rich in Bitcoin or any of the other coins, for that matter of fact, even commodities. It doesn't matter, because you have something that's solid, real estate, and you're just using some of the profit and buying whatever crypto you want to do. If the crypto goes down, it's loss, no sweat, because you have the real thing. You have real estate, and that's the big difference. So that answers that question.
To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25. To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25.
The bond we share with our pets, it's undeniable. They fill us with love, comfort, and joy, and they deserve the same. As pet owners, we want to care for and protect our pets. Sadly, in homes where domestic violence occurs, pets are often victims too. I'm Russell Wilson, and this is my dog, Naomi. Each year, millions of domestic violence victims stay in abusive situations because they fear for the safety of their pet. With less than 10% of domestic violence shelters allowing pets, too many lives remain at risk. Victims of domestic violence should never have to make a choice between their own safety and the safety of their loved ones, including pets. That's why the Banfield Foundation supports programs that provide temporary shelter and veterinary care, so people and pets can find safety together. Because when we help pets, we help people too. Visit banfieldfoundation.org/safertogether to learn more and get involved.
This is Talk Radio with the Reverend Dr. Roberto Rosado. Talk Radio news, commentary, entertainment. Welcome back, everyone. We're discussing India's pandemic crisis. And we're going to be talking about, in this segment, the reporting of what's going on there in India. Which may be, in fact, underreported the devastating effects of the coronavirus. Quoting from the Los Angeles Times in an article here by caller K. Johnson from the Associated Press, in an article entitled "India's Official COVID-19 Numbers Are Shocking. The true count is likely far worse." And it says here that that the pleas for help from overwhelmed hospitals and images of body bags and funeral pyres is quite intense. And on Monday, 24 COVID-19 patients died at a government-run hospital in the state of Karnataka. And that's also happening amid reports of lack of oxygen, an oxygen shortage in India. It was unclear how many died from a lack of oxygen. Okay, and as I told you as we started this program, this show this morning, that they have this video on Facebook. Where you see a dying man. He's not in the hospital. He's out in some type of village with these hut type of shelters. I guess this is how they live, and he's just there on the floor dying. Someone's taking the camera shot. His wife is overwhelmed in tears and emotion. And it's just simply a sad thing where, you see your fellow man dying, and there's really nothing that you can do for them. And so it says here, India has had 19.9 million confirmed coronavirus cases since the start of the pandemic, behind only the U.S., which has counted more than 32.4 million. And so it says that more than 218,000 people in India have died. And they say that the experts say that the official tally of confirmed cases and deaths in the world's second most populous country is likely a massive undercount. So even though they saying that it's 19.9 million confirmed coronavirus cases, the number may be in fact quite larger than that. And obviously the deaths as well could be greatly undercounted. With an estimate of infections at 10 times the official figure. So that would make it surpass the U.S. in terms of those cases that are confirmed at this point. So they may overtake or have had overtaken the U.S. in the number of cases, which I personally believe. I personally believe that more people have been infected with the coronavirus in India than in the United States. And this goes to the point that I was beginning to make early on about I think the issue of cleanliness, the availability of sanitizers and frequent washing of hands and of the face. I think, and even the masks being put on, that does defray some of the impact in the local environment, of getting just preventing just free and loose viral matter from just infecting or just being in the air. So I think it could be that these situations mixed in with, I guess, close family units and denser, when they're in these villages and they have, it's quite a dense community, the way people live and work with each other or socialize with each other. It could play an important role in the spread of diseases like this and pandemics. Definitely, there seems to be some type of facility, and you wouldn't think that, because looking at that video of this village, it's sparsely populated. It's like a village in the middle of what you would call nowhere. There's a lot of land you see in the video for this fellow to have contracted this disease and to be dying on the ground there. It just seems incredible. It has to be that the way people live, in the culture that creates this closeness, perhaps, that is exposing them more and more. You see people with masks on. The wife had mask on. I guess a friend of hers or other family member had masks on. So we can only assume that this fellow also had a mask at one time. But the question looms is how with a mask on can you still contract the coronavirus, especially that you live out in the boondocks. It's apparently where they live is a village. There, you see these two huts there. You don't see anything behind them except open land. How do you contract the pandemic if that's where you're living and that's where your activities are? I'm not saying that the guy didn't. Obviously, they have to work. They're probably going to work still going to the marketplaces and whatnot. I'm sure that is where he got the pandemic, not by staying at home. I think if he stayed at home, he would still be alive today, but probably starving of death, dying of starvation, because there's nothing to eat. So you have to get out and do something and bring home the bacon. But obviously, it doesn't. It seems that it's the activity, the level of activity, the amounts of time, and the number of times that you go out into society, that you are increasing and increasing and increasing the chances of exposure. So I think that is also what may be evident. I think in the Indian, as far as I can tell, and the reality of life in India is quite active, and a very social. And just the sheer numbers of people. You can see, pictures and videos of India, and you see people. It's a lot of people. It's just very populous in the pictures that you do see. So if this fellow had to go out and work every day and go out into into the marketplace or do business or whatnot, I'm sure he had to have gone into many situations where there's just so many people. I mean, you look at the trains, even transportation, and they're bustling. It's full of people. The trains, you have people riding on the top of a train because the train is full. Buses, just filled up. There's standing room only. How can you not contract something and get sick? It's just simple. It's just simple math. Increasing the numbers, and these are things that we don't see here in New York, except maybe I said here in New York because I'm thinking about New York, but here in the U.S., unless you're in New York, right, and you're riding the subway. Now, I know nobody rides the top of the subway. You can't survive there for long, but you're practically armpit to armpit inside the subway car in the rush hour. Am I right or am I right? We'll be right back after these messages.
Came in from one of my viewers. They asked this. They asked, how much money, you say you're going to make a lot more money than you do in crypto and all of this. Well, how much money do I need to invest in order to make that happen for me? The answer to that is, do you have $25? That's my answer to you. Do you have $25? Because that's all you really need. If you have $25, you can control real estate, and you can build that real estate up to over $1 million of return on investment. These are the things I'm going to show you from just $25. So if you can muster $25, then you can grow rich in real estate and use the money that you get from our program, to grow rich in Bitcoin or any of the other coins for that matter of fact, even commodities. It doesn't matter, because you have something that's solid, real estate, and you're just using some of that profit and buying whatever crypto you want to do. If the crypto goes down, it's lost, no sweat, because you have the real thing. You have real estate, and that's the big difference. So that answers that question.
To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25. To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH/25. News radio, talk radio, with news, commentary, and entertainment. And that was the entertainment part. Wasn't that funny? Ha ha ha. Okay, here we are. This is Reverend Gilberto Rosado. We're continuing our discussion today on the pandemic issue in India, and just making analysis of the situation there. Continuing with that article, it's very interesting in the Los Angeles Times. It goes into a section that says, what about the deaths? That's a better indicator of the shape of the pandemic curve. And it says the biggest gap is what's going on in rural India, which is arguably what we were referring to in that video that I described earlier in the show, where you see a man dying out in front of these between two huts there, and just dying there with his wife trying to do something, and obviously there's nothing can be done. She's distraught, and you have other people just looking on. The cameraman obviously And another woman who came to him looked at him and just, I guess she pronounced him dead or something. She did some hand gesture and says, look like, forget it, he's dead, whatever. I think the wife tried to give him some water or something. It was like he got up a little, in terms of his chest. He moved his head up and his chest slightly upward. It could have been his last breath. It's like sad to watch. So, it says here, it was saying here before that entire houses, entire families are infected. It starts with one member of the family and then it spreads to another, obviously. And, the issue here is like, I'm dealing with a situation also where, you're worried about if one family member gets infected, you're worried about what's going to be happening, who's next. Especially when you're dealing with kids. If you're dealing with just adults, I think it's pretty easy enough for you just to stay away, get into your room. I'm here secluded in my radio, TV broadcast studio. So, the door's closed. No matter who is in this facility, I'm isolated. I've been isolated before the pandemic. That's my normal state. So, something could be going around the world, killing off 90% of the population. And I'm probably will be a survivor because my day-to-day is in total isolation, more or less. I not only live isolated, I got 2 security gates to go through. For you to come to me and the virus to come and find me, it has to go through 2 security gates. One of them is manned. And then it has to find me all the way in the back. And then it has to find a way to get into this house. And once in the house, it has to really come into my studio to track me down. And it's like every layer, every distance, and every wall and gate that exists around me is a very strong barrier against me getting infected by anything like that. Now, like I said, and I found that I haven't even suffered a cold this year, which is incredible because usually, like when I was back in New York, I would always have a cold. Every year, I needed to have, what do you call that? The day quills, to survive the daytime and still do my broadcasts and stuff because I would have a cold. I would get a cold every winter for sure. But I haven't suffered a cold in Florida for some time. I can't remember when. And I frankly don't have any day quills here. I went through this winter without needing to buy any day quill or night quill for that matter. So what it tells you or it tells me is that obviously being a little more isolated and or cautious is good for the health. It prevents me from getting the common cold. And so if I was prevented from getting the common cold, then it's very unlikely that I would get COVID and not get the common cold. So I think if you have suffered from the common cold this winter, I think it's something you need to look at because it's telling you that whatever you're doing, your lifestyle, what you're doing from your day-to-day, whatever that is, you are still vulnerable. So that is something you need to look at. And, this pandemic thing may be over. We pray that it's over, But that doesn't matter because if it's not this pandemic, it'll be another. Sooner or later, something else is going to come up. And the issue is, did you learn anything from this pandemic? Did you make changes that improved your health to the point where you did not suffer from any colds? So that's like a good indicator, because who doesn't get a cold in winter? Like it's like almost everyone gets a cold at some point during the winter. So, but if you were able to not have a cold this winter, that tells you that what you're doing, and perhaps even what other people are doing as well, has prevented you, has shielded you to some degree. And that's a good thing. So what's the test? The test is, did you get a cold or not? And I would submit to you that if you got a cold this winter, with all of the masking and all of the precautions and whatnot, it means that you're still doing something potentially wrong for your health going forward. And you're doing something that's exposing you to too much risk of getting an infection, of getting an airborne infection or cold or virus. And I think it should tell you that you really need to make a change. Okay, you need to make a change. So that's really important. Now let's continuing on here. It says that the biggest gap is what's going on in rural India. In the countryside, people often die at home without medical attention. That's exactly what we saw in that video on Facebook. And these deaths are vastly underreported. Families bury or cremate their loved ones themselves without any official record. About 70% of the nation's deaths from all causes occur in rural India in any given year. Okay, so that's basically what we saw on that Facebook video. I think it's distressing what's going on in India, but also I think it's revealing something that we need to learn. We need to see and make these comparisons ourselves, so that we can make improvements in the things that we're doing to prevent loss of life. And when you're, like I was saying before, I have a situation here in the family right now in this home where we still have to keep distance from one of the children here, because they have those could be possibly a children what do you call that, a child age type of problem that can be contagious. And we have to practice, some of that quarantining. And I don't know if families are able to do that. If parents feel comfortable, with the child, your child doesn't know anything better, and they still want to be hugged and touched and, feel like a human being. What do you do? What do you do when your child has something that you can't really embrace them, because you'll get in, you probably get it also, and may do you harm, may do you damage. So what do you do? It's a very tough question. It's very difficult, these questions in these times of pandemic. It's very sad. But the truth is that in the future, it may be more common than you even want to care to think about right now. But please take care of yourselves and love your families now before it's too late. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.